Hi, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now, here's a quick insight about things such as high blood pressure and certain arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation, AF. Now, obviously, these are all connected to the cardiovascular system, and cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of humans. And it has been like that for many decades. And I'm not here to bash the conventional treatment method that is currently in play, including pharmaceuticals. I know there is a place for pharmaceuticals. I was an orthopedic medical nurse in a hospital for 12 years, so I know that process inside out, right? But we must come to the conclusion, realize that if that was the correct way to go about the original resolution of things as blood pressure, high blood pressure or low blood pressure, or arrhythmias, myocardial infarctions, which are heart attacks, which is usually the main culprit, what takes someone out in regards to those numbers, right? A cardiovascular disease, #1 killer. If it was the right treatment, it wouldn't still be at the top, would it? It still wouldn't be the #1 killer of humans. So there has to be another way. There's maybe something we're missing. And here at Truly Holistic, we know what's missing in relevance to that. Okay? And anyone knows when I work on things at Truly Holistic, we don't just work at the effect level. And the effect level is the symptoms that you're experiencing, the expression that's coming through the body. High blood pressure, an expression through the body. An arrhythmia, an expression through the body. They are symptoms. But that's an effect to a cause. At Truly Holistic, we need to resolve the effect. We need to understand what the cause is to the effect, like a domino effect, right? Now, when we look at the cause of those issues, a key word comes up, and that's the word flow. When we look at blood pressure, we must realize that's a regulating process in the body, right? Where we're trying to get in that little beautiful therapeutic window, which, in the books would say, or the textbook would say, it'll be 120/80, right? Systolic over diastolic reading, 120/80. But everyone's a little bit different, so it doesn't have to be exactly that. And you'll get a feeling of how it feels, your blood pressure, that is the right blood pressure for you, right? Our discernment always should be feel, because that's what the extension of what the heart wants to communicate to you. And this is where we get into the cause to effect. As humans, our process, our pathway that we use for our discernment, this is the tools that we were conditioned to use, how we will perceive our reality, how we observe and experience it, how we process and respond to what we're observing and experiencing, is using the mind and its thoughts. Now, the problem with that is that it has a detrimental effect to our heart, okay? Because there are two pathways available to us that gives us that discernment of how we perceive and process reality. One of them is mind thought, and the other one is heart feel. And what we're seeing, and this is again what I find in session work on these particular problems, arrhythmias, heart, cardiovascular disease problems, high blood pressure, is that there are too many people that are stuck up here, and it's having a detrimental effect to our heart health, to our cardiovascular health. Because one, the medical establishment, the experts in that field, cardiologists, don't fully understand really what the heart is. Their baseline of what the heart is just like what a 5-year-old would tell you. The heart is a pump. It pumps blood around the body. Well, it's much more than that. And actually, it's not just a pump. It's a vortex generator. And we're going to talk about a bit about this in here. Now, when we are more in mind thought up there, see there's a doorway, this mind. It's an intelligence, it's a guidance, because it's guiding you to the choices that you make. And then those choices that you make are your energy being applied not only to your reality, but to the body, how the body will present itself, right? As I say, a symptom is an expression. It's the way the body communicates. And the medical system, their main way of treatment is through pharmaceuticals to remove the symptom, which means it's removing the message, the communication. That's not the problem. Okay? What the issue is, we're not interpreting or understanding that communication. This is where we need to get to understand that. Now, when we surrender all control of mind and thought and we drop into our heart, which is actually what people experience when they do meditation. When people do meditation successfully and they get to that meditative state, that's them dropping into their heart and allowing their heart and through feel to be their discernment. Because what do you hear with people that do meditation? The mind chatter, the thoughts silence. Okay? Right? And then they become very present. They become self-aware to who they are. Because no, they're not being distracted by the distraction that's happening out here that then gets them into here. Okay? So when we drop in and surrender into the heart, did you know that your energy, your consciousness, which we refer to as a soul, is facilitated through an open heart? The seat of the soul is your heart. Right? So when we drop into here and our heart opens up, we facilitate more of our consciousness, more of who we are as a soul. And as that energy comes through the heart, right, and we know that the geometry of flow is a vortex, right, as it comes through, that vortex has two forces, centrifugal forces, that helps that substance clean and clear itself. So what's it going to do to the arteries? It's going to clean and clear the arteries, keep it open. It's not going to allow anything to accumulate in the arteries and therefore become occluded. That's what a myocardial infarction is, a heart attack. Now, so when we're talking about this organ, the heart that has a rhythm and a rate to it, right? Because when we're talking about an arrhythmia, we're talking about an unusual rhythm. It's not in its sinus rhythm. And that's the understanding that the heart's not open enough. It's not providing enough of that vortex action. That is an arrhythmia. Okay. Right? Now, high blood pressure is, as I say, we want to be in that Goldilocks zone. Right? We don't want to be too low. We don't want to be too hot. Just like Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold. Right? It's a regulating system. Now, when we apply ourselves and our energy up here through mind thought, we create a state that overwhelms us, that stresses us, because it creates a state that's unbalanced. And when you have high blood pressure, that is an unbalanced expression of the heart and the body. And what it does, it removes that vortex action that the heart provides, which means the flow or viscosity of blood thickens, so it can't flow as well. So an intelligence of the body comes forth to push that blood through the body more. High blood pressure. Thank God it does that. But we need to understand why it has to come in to do that. Right? Why it has to come in and do that is because that vortex action that allows that blood to flow effortlessly through the body and where it needs to go is vacant. That's why it has to do that. Which is a greater understanding of knowing what the heart is. Not just through the 3D reality that we know, which is from visible sight, which is seeing 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light, which is like looking through reality through a keyhole at best. We need to see the bigger picture. Here at Truly Holistic, we see the bigger picture and we know directly why heart disease, why there's these high blood pressure problems, why these arrhythmia problems, and we can resolve it at the cause level so there is no longer the effect that then you experience. So come and book a session at Truly Holistic at trulyholistic.net/appointments/. Catch you later.